Rick Allen, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton with you. Steve, as we come away from Richmond, only 4 races still to go. We always want to look at that bubble battle. Who advanced or who went down? Who had a positive or a negative day that really stood out to you?
No team had a bigger day in my mind, even with the win of Chris Buescher, who I think was going to get through on points anyway. The 23 of Bubba Wallace, a monster day for multiple reasons. Points are obvious, right? They gained 27 points to the bubble. That's the goal, to make the playoffs. That's not even what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a driver that I think has been judged on the big moments, judged on the big stages, right? Didn't close the deal at Talladega. We've seen some issues in qualifying. Not at Richmond. The playoffs are in front of him. The pressure of driving for Michael Jordan is upon him, and yet he drives to the lead. Then there's a slow pit stop, another mental challenge for a race car driver, but who's the biggest cheerleader? Bubba Wallace. He doesn't lose his mind on the radio. He confidently tells his team it'll be okay, keeps the ship going in the right direction, finishes just outside the top 13, or just outside the top 10. So, Jeff, in my mind, Bubba was a huge gainer in points, and a huge gainer in confidence of their own. And guys like me, I now believe he is a playoff-bound driver.
Yeah, he had a great day. And somebody that had a good day was Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs scored points in both stages. Not a lot of points, but he scored points. Had a decent finish for a rookie driver. Now, he gained 2 spots in the points. He's only 18 behind, and he's in the hunt. And he helped himself on a day that other people had issues. He did just consistency. And that's what we want to see out of Ty Gibbs. We've seen in the Xfinity Series, we've seen the bold moves, the wins, and all those kind of things. We've also seen the trouble. But at this level, you have to be consistent. And he's been doing that. That's what he's been showing us. And although he wasn't great, they ran well. And he moved himself up the points, and that was a good day for a rookie driver.
So those were a couple positives. Let's go to the negative side. And 2 names that really jump out to me would be AJ Allmendinger and Daniel Suarez. First of all, I'll ask you, AJ Allmendinger and Colleague Racing, they made a choice to not practice in qualifying on Saturday at Richmond so that they could run Road America. Was that a mistake? Do you think they could have finished better than 27th, where they finished at Richmond?
Yeah, Justin Haley did not run well, his teammate. He ran 30th. They did not have speed. The only thing practice could have done for them potentially was expose the problem that they could have worked on. But, AJ has been pretty clear. They've struggled there before going to practice, and he wasn't confident that was going to help. Obviously, it's easy to look back on now and say it didn't work. And they did not have the pace that they needed to have. So, yeah, that did not work out well. Another guy, I think, and it doesn't jump out because he did gain points, is Michael McDowell. And I hate to say loser, but didn't capitalize, because a lot of the people that he's racing for these playoffs had really bad days. And they had an opportunity in front of them to gain more points on those guys than they ultimately did. Had they had a little more performance, they could have separated themselves. Again, he gained a point, right? He gained only 1 point on a day where some of those guys had really bad days. Suarez and Allmendinger had really bad days. He had an opportunity to separate himself from those guys, and they were not able to capitalize.
Well, you said the name that comes to mind for me, Daniel Suarez. A week ago, kind of got caught up in a mess on a restart, and they were looking for a bounce back at Richmond, and they got anything but a bounce back. I know he was involved in the caution late, and that's going to be on everyone's mind, but he was involved running in the back. Unlike in Pocono, where I thought it was just a racing incident and those things happen, nowhere to be found, to be quite honest, was all of Trackhouse. The whole organization just didn't have any sort of pace when it came to Richmond, and Daniel Suarez has scored, count them, Rick. When you count them on one hand, it's not going to be good. 5 points in 2 weeks. That's not good. You need multiple hands to count points if you're going to go into the playoffs. Now, the good news for Suarez is I think he has a very strong and mentally tough team around him. I think Travis Mack on top of the pit box has been down this road before, both in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. He knows what it's going to take. And Trackhouse as a whole has kind of done things their own way and found success But I think it's time to kind of circle the wagons, right? You don't have to point fingers about why we were bad, but I think it's time to have a meeting, look each other in the eye and say, we got 4 more weeks, guys. And we don't want to run 26 weeks and realize what we could have done at some point over those 26 weeks. So we better really buckle down over the next 4 and understand not just we need to run better, but I think it's time to start circling who you're running and who you're racing against. And you better start points battling. I just don't see a win coming for this organization unless something magically changes at speed of the road courses. So I do think it's time to start points racing the guys on the bubble.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.